Hello from Plant Reviews. Today, 3rd of May. So we are still going through the mid-spring in Kent, England, and I will talk today about the Muscari armeniacum, a very unusual variety of Muscari armeniacum called Fantasy Creation. In this variety of grape hyacinth, the common grape hyacinth Muscari armeniacum, the flowers are not globet-like, but instead they are basically clustered in racemes of kind of double flowers, but I would say that the flowers are basically so completely modified that they look, like you can see, almost broccoli shaped. This is a variety that was selected by Mrs. Van Bantem for obviously the bizarre aspect. And then she patented the cultivar. This variety of grape hyacinth, like the normal grape hyacinth Muscari armeniacum, grows from bulbs, so it's a perennial plant, and bulbs can be bought and planted in autumn. They will start sprouting in winter and blooming in spring. The leaves are very simple leaves, as you can see. They can be up to 22 centimeters tall, and the flower stems are kept quite high against the foliage, as you can see. In this pot, obviously, I have it with some tulips and squill as well, so the Peruvian squill. But you can still see if you were them in a pot just by themselves, you could see actually the flower stem being kept very high against the foliage, and even with against the foliage of the other plants, you can see how the blue contrasts very nicely with the green behind, especially because of the shape of the flower that is has a completely different texture from the long leaves of the tulips, of the squill, and of the grape hyacinth itself. Muscari armeniacum as a species, it's a species that come from the eastern part of the Mediterranean, mainly from Greece, Turkey, and Caucasus, including Armenia, from which the species Muscari armeniacum gets the name from. There are different varieties and actually different colors as well of Muscari armeniacum, mostly in blue and purple, but also some pink and whites. Among these different varieties, there is one called Blue Spike that has double florets, so not just like the single common globlet florets of the grape hyacinth, but double florets on the flower stalk. Well, in this variety, the Blue Spike, there has been a genetic mutation called in jargon sport that basically changed even more the shape of the flowers, as you can see, giving this broccoli-like appearance. And this originated a raceme, a cluster, a group of flowers that is very compact, quite pyramidal in shape, as you can see, and with individual flowers clustered at the end of the pedicle, as you can see here. There's quite a long pedicle. The racemes can be up to 7 centimeters across. However, these mines are quite small, are about 5 centimeters across, both in length and in width. The color of the flower, you can see, is basically blue. When they start sprouting, they are like a greenish with a hint of blue. Actually, they really literally look like broccoli. I'm pretty sure that if I would have put them in a plastic tray and surrounded by a label saying broccoli, I could have sold them literally as broccoli. Obviously, I wouldn't, because most of the grape hyacinth, if not all, are poisonous. So obviously, that would be a very bad taste prank to do. And however, you can see really the similarity is striking when they are still in bud. When they come up in flower, as you can see, the flowers do not come up at the same time in on these broccoli, but they come up in groups. So at some point you have like part of the flower that is blooming and part of the flower that is still in bud. At some point, anyway, most flowers get open, and you can see this kind of beautiful bright blue clusters of flowers. The flowers, as you can see, the shape of the flower is completely deformed in comparison to the normal grape hyacinth flower. Indeed, this plant usually doesn't sprout seeds, probably because the deformation of the flower is has gone to such an extent that the reproductive parts are completely impossible to reach by the insects. I'm not too sure if this variety is sterile. I would say that considering the shape of the flowers is not really easy for the pollinators to pollinate this flower. Therefore, if you are looking for a plant that is can attract pollinators, really I wouldn't go for this one, because unlike the most Muscari grape hyacinth varieties that are great for pollinators, this one really pollinators I wouldn't be able to reach any nectar. Once the flowers have finished blooming, they change color and become purplish green and yellowish green. I found that the inflorescence doesn't dies up, doesn't wilt, so can be used for dry flower decoration. However, I will tell you once the flowers finish blooming. At the moment I'm just at the start. As any genetic mutation calls for, some of the plants can revert to the original form, so to the blue spike. And actually you can see every now and then, for example here, that there are some flowers that look quite different from the broccoli shape. I will try to focus if I am able to. Yeah, you can see now in the center. Yeah, do you see here? So this is a flower, this one. You can see actually also the white rim. You can see that this flower actually is not as deformed as the other. It has an inner part, a darker in the inner part here, near my thumb. And sorry for the focus. Okay, perfect. Now it's okay. So just yeah, just above my thumb, you can see this. You can see actually recognize the goblet-like shape of the flower, and the fact that is double flower rather than having 6 petals as more. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, kind of 10 petals. So the goblet shape is still lost in this flower. However, this is the only flower in the raceme that is actually open, so it might still be able to be pollinated by an insect. So very few seeds I found are produced by this variety, probably obviously because very few flowers are actually able to open this way, and it mainly spreads through bulbils. However, it's a plant that can still naturalize. So as I said, being a genetic mutation, sometimes the plant reverts to the original blue spike variety. So if you want to keep the shape in your stock, you have to select every year the plants that show this kind of flower and discard the other bulbs that instead the bulbs that when blooming revert to the blue spike form. As a plant, again, if you like unusual varieties of plant in your garden, this is definitely a variety of grape hyacinth I can recommend. For fragrance, not much. I can't detect any fragrance like many other grape hyacinth that anyway have a subtle fragrance. You can usually smell the fragrance when you are close to the flower, but they're not like, for example, some daffodils or buddleias that you can smell all around the garden without even going close to the plant. But if you like bizarre and unusual flowers, this is definitely a bulb I can recommend in your garden, particularly for the front part of the garden, because it is not very tall. It's about 20-25 centimeters tall. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.